A person's greatness is determined by their thoughts. This is not a theory. It is a timeless truth proven repeatedly by the lives of the most successful individuals on the planet. Think about Elon Musk. Think about Steve Jobs. Think about Jeff Bezos. These men did not start with billions. They started with a specific architecture of the mind. Napoleon Hill, in his legendary book Think and Grow Rich, famously said, "What you think about, you become." But if this is true, why do so many people struggle to succeed? Why are you still stuck in the same cycle of stress and lack? Do you not think about your future? Do you fail to see your own potential? Or is there a deeper, darker secret to why your thoughts are keeping you poor? Today's story will uncover the brutal answers to these questions. It will teach you the single most powerful lesson about the law of exchange. Watch this until the very last second, because your entire perception of receiving is about to be shattered. Imagine a busy railway station in the heart of a city that never sleeps. In the middle of the noise, the diesel fumes, and the rushing crowds, lived a beggar. Every day, for years, he survived by asking passengers for alms as they waited for their trains. He saw himself as a victim of fate. He believed the world owed him something because he had nothing. One afternoon, a well-dressed businessman stepped onto the platform. He had a confident posture, a sharp suit, and the aura of a man who controlled his own destiny. The beggar's eyes lit up. He thought, "This man is wealthy. If I ask him, he will surely give me a massive amount of money." With this hope, the beggar approached the businessman and stretched out his hand. But instead of reaching for his wallet, the businessman looked the beggar directly in the eyes and asked a question that felt like a slap. "Do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone in your entire life?" The beggar was startled. He had never heard such a question. He replied, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I survive by asking for help. I have nothing to give to anyone." The businessman smiled slightly, but his eyes remained cold and professional. "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you also have no right to ask for anything. I'm a businessman. I believe in the law of exchange. If you can offer me something, I can give you something in return. But if you have nothing to provide, I have nothing to offer. Business is not about pity. It is about value." Saying this, the businessman boarded his train and left. The beggar stood there, stunned. He kept replaying those words in his mind. "If I can't offer anything in return, then why should people give me anything?" For the first time in 20 years, the beggar realized the truth. People weren't giving him much money because he offered them zero value. He was a consumer, not a producer. That night, he lay awake. "What can I give? I'm just a beggar." But the law of exchange kept echoing in his head. If you want to receive, you must first give. 2 days passed. The beggar didn't ask anyone for money. He was too busy auditing his own life. On the third day, while sitting near the tracks, he noticed a patch of wild flowers blooming through the cracks in the concrete. Their colors were vibrant, surviving in a place of soot and iron. Suddenly, an idea struck him. What if instead of just taking, he offered something in return? What if he gave people a flower every time they gave him alms? He plucked a handful of flowers and went back to his spot. When someone handed him a coin, he smiled and offered them a flower. Surprisingly, the atmosphere changed. People didn't just drop coins and walk away with guilt. They accepted the flowers with joy. Some even smiled and thanked him. As the days passed, something incredible happened. More people started giving him money. He noticed a pattern. As long as he had flowers, people gave generously. When he ran out of flowers, the donations decreased. It was the law of exchange in action. People like to receive something when they give. One day, he spotted the businessman again. Excited, he rushed over and said, "Sir, today I have something for you. If you give me money, I will give you flowers in return." The businessman smiled, handed him a $50 bill, and took the flowers. "You have truly understood the value of exchange," he said. "Today, you are no longer just a beggar. You have become a businessman." Those words sparked a wildfire in the man's soul. Am I really a businessman? He realized he wasn't just a beggar anymore. He was a trader. People weren't giving him money out of pity. They were paying for the beauty he provided. This meant he had a business. That day, He left the railway station and never returned as a beggar again. 6 months later, at that same station, two well-dressed men met on the platform. They exchanged a handshake. One man looked curious. "Do I know you?" he asked. The other man smiled and replied, "Yes, we've met twice before right here. The first time, you refused to give me money. The second time, I sold you flowers." The businessman's eyes widened. "Wait, you're the beggar?" The former beggar laughed. "Yes, but today, I run a successful floral distribution company. I am traveling to expand my business. You taught me the greatest truth of my life. We only receive when we give." I realized I was never really a beggar. I was just a businessman who hadn't found his product yet. The two men shook hands again, now as equals. Life is shaped by how you see yourself. If you believe you are small, you will remain small. If you believe you have nothing to offer, the world will treat you like you are worthless. But the moment you recognize your inner potential and start providing value, your future changes. But there is another side to this truth. Sometimes you have the value, but you're still begging for crumbs because you're standing in the wrong place. Before a father passed away, he called his son and handed him a watch. "This watch is 200 years old," he said. "But before I give it to you, take it to the watch shop on the corner and ask how much it's worth." The son went and came back. The watchmaker offered $5 because it's old and scratched. The father said, "Now take it to the pawn shop." The son came back. The pawn shop offered only $1 because they said it's just junk metal. Finally, the father said, "Take it to the National Museum and show it to the curator." The son went. When he came back, his eyes were wide with shock. "Dad, the curator offered $500,000. He said it's a rare masterpiece, a piece of history that belongs in a world-class collection." The father looked at his son and said, "I wanted you to know that the right place values you in the right way. Don't find yourself in the wrong place and get angry because people treat you like you're worthless. Do not stay where you are not valued." Do you see the connection? The beggar was poor because he thought he had nothing to give. The son would have been poor if he believed the pawn shop's price. Most of you are failing because of one of these two reasons. Either you're standing on the platform of life with an empty hand, waiting for a handout like a beggar, or you're a masterpiece standing in a pawn shop, wondering why nobody is offering you $1 million. Elon Musk didn't ask for permission to be valued. He built rockets that made it impossible to ignore him. Steve Jobs didn't beg people to like his computers. He built something so beautiful that the world changed its standards to match him. Your anxiety is often just the friction between your true value and the low-rent environment you've chosen to stay in. Or it's the guilt of knowing you are providing zero value to the marketplace while expecting a luxury lifestyle. You need to perform a value audit on your life right now. Stop the handout culture. If you are waiting for a break, you are a beggar. Find your wildflowers. Find a problem you can solve, a skill you can master, or a service you can provide. The world is a marketplace, not a charity. Know your worth, then double it. If you know you have a masterpiece in your hand, stop trying to sell it to people who only deal in junk. If your job, your friends, or your environment treats you like a $5 watch, move. You're not a tree. You can walk. The law of exchange is absolute. You will never be paid more than the value you bring to the table. If you want a $500,000 life, you must provide $500,000 worth of solutions. We are building a community here for the producers and the masterpieces. We are done with the victim mindset. We are here to change the architecture of our minds so we can change the reality of our lives. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're dismantling the beggar mindset every single week. Now, I want to see your commitment. Comment below with your flower and your place. Tell me, what is the one value you're offering this week? And what is the one pawn shop environment you're leaving behind? Stop begging for a better life. Start trading for one. Stop letting junk dealers set your price. Stay focused, stay sovereign, and I'll see you in the next one.